Gosh, what's his name?
Yeah, we're just finishing
Former planner.
up bond, and I think
Twerdy.
Jordan
Dearborn.
Twardy?
Yeah.
What was he doing there?
No, he posted RFP on LinkedIn today.
probably by a few votes.
For,
This is for yeah.
Really active and
You doing well? I haven't seen him in a minute.
trying to get the word out because
Where's he
a
now?
year ago when they tried to,
Dearborn.
not a
Dearborn.
and this time he had like tried to market it
Reimagining
up
the
a little
future
bit
of Fairlane Mall.
So in other words, they probably saw the one Oak Park North. What's it called? Northland Mall, and they're probably like, "Hey, how can we?" It is very not
I think there's probably a little
Anywhere.
bit of technology that Sean
attached to that. I have no idea what that's all about. I just see a lot of building happening. I'm like,
I also saw Wayne.
Oh, okay.
He works for Neola now.
The old superintendent
Have you heard from Greg?
is Neola, a different
It's
district.
some sort of, no, it's some sort of,
It's Acres, Husky, and Hagforce, not today.
They all said
He's,
maybe,
I
but
think he retired.
Well, we definitely
Yeah, I
don't have
think this-
tags, right?
I think
So,
it's definitely like a retirement type job.
Okay.
oh, yeah, sorry, thank you. Hagforce.
sounds like he's not here.
fire stations really. If I want to work on that project, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
On his way. All right, thanks.
I'm just trying to keep an eye
Policy, they do
on.
policy.
Actually, the mic's live.
It would be,
Something in my
yeah,
hometown.
something in your own, yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely not like.
Do we? Well, I guess yeah, it's not school property. So.
Oh,
Fire department?
Yeah.
City Hall and the court.
so what's happening? So
When they moved the police station in it, so it wasn't really, they didn't really, oh, I don't know. A long time ago.
Pandemic, long, like,
But it didn't really,
is there any heartburn with the police station public service going on the opposite side of the train tracks?
Well, they discussed it a lot. The
oh, facilities.
Yeah, because I think I'm not because it was separated from the 9 Mile side, which probably most of the incidents I would guess happened, but I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. Have people on the other side.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean,
time.
yeah, and then it just parked, and you're like, "You guys do something about this?" Like, I would just like loop around. I don't know.
Yeah, you either make the run up to 696.
Or you take the Wanda route around. I've driven down Wanda quite a few times to get around that.
You see those first 3 cars and it's going slow and you know it's gonna be a 9-minute, you can get around it in less time. I just did that last night.
Get around legally get around it.
Yes, yeah, like go up to
Go up
686,
Camborne.
yeah, like, turn around.
Often than not.
So usually Woodward Heights doesn't stretch all the way to Woodward Heights.
I'll drive and I'll just take a peek down Camborne,
Yeah, like,
get in there
nope.
and try and beat it to
Yep.
Woodward Heights.
at House of Optical last week. Huh? Yes. I don't know what her name is. Her last name is Showalter. She's married to someone and.
All lies, lies and
Yeah, I don't have any aunts named Showalter.
Really?
No.
Thank you.
Married to, married someone
All right.
Sorry. She knows you.
Really?
All right. Welcome everyone to the City of Ferndale Planning Commission meeting of Wednesday, November 15th. We'll get started here at 6:36. Sorry for the delay. We had a
I
quorum issue.
apologize for the delay.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for joining us. We did hear from Akers, Husky, Kramer, and Hagfors that they were likely not able to make it this evening. So if we could have a motion for their,
roll call first.
yeah, maybe we need to do that first. I don't know. Thanks.
I'm happy to make a motion. I just wanna,
Skipping steps.
Michelle,
Here.
Azar,
Here.
Chair Foster,
Here.
Showalter,
Here.
Brazen,
here.
and Councilman Polika.
Here.
I move to excuse Commissioners Akers, Husky, Kramer, and Hagfors.
Support.
Motion by Brazen, support by Polika. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this evening's agenda, we have the public hearing for the consideration to approve our CIP, or capital improvement plan, and consideration of our 2024 calendar. Is there any changes to the agenda?
Approve the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have approval, consideration and approval of the minutes for the October 4th Planning Commission meeting.
Move to approve the minutes as noted.
Support.
Motion by Brazen, support by Polika. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, seeing that we don't have anyone in the audience, think that, I guess my comment would be, as we're building facilities, if there's a way to mitigate the risks of, that could help alleviate some of the insurance risk that will potentially help with those costs, I think it's beneficial. Thankfully, in Michigan, we don't have a lot of like climate change risk impact, but there is some, and I think that is helpful when we're thinking about design, especially in our community, and preventing certain cat risks and whatnot. So
I had a comment, just to emphasize the last point you made about a couple of new buildings that we're proposing, the recreation facility and the public safety HQ. The precedents you showed, unless they were built in the last 2 years, I would definitely say that the cost estimates need to be, evaluated by a current firm and against projects right now, because costs have skyrocketed, obviously, just to make sure your projections are in good shape.
Our city manager was actually discussing that earlier today, so I think he's definitely thinking for sure.
Yeah, definitely the right move to either talk to a construction manager
Okay,
or an architectural firm, an engineering firm.
got you.
or just increase costs 30-50%.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, clearly that's the better way. Anything else?
And also another thing is, based on when it is going to be designed, it's really hard to pin down construction escalation costs right now, because from just anecdotal experience, that construction costs have gone up way more than the typical few percent each year in the past since the pandemic, and so since 2021 they've gone up significantly higher than. And trying to pin down where escalation will be in 3 to 4 years could be difficult.
Anything else?
I guess to tag on to that, I was impressed by the slide where you were showing the side-by-side of the facilities recommendations versus what was normally done, because you don't want to keep throwing good money into a facility that's not really serving you, and taking a long look at it and saying what you could be spending with Band-Aids, and projecting ahead about, spending well. I thought that was very impactful.
That's a nod to our former assistant city manager, Kyle Paulette, who honestly, all of this is him. So if you're watching, Kyle, just thank you a million times, because this was actually Kyle's first project that he took on when he came to the city. And I started that same year. And so we were both on the capital improvement plan, policy team together. So I just thank you for being a great leader. And if you don't hear it tonight, I'll say it again next time.
Yes. I think the whole process has been really great, especially with the task force recommendations. It's very helpful for us to see all that, so thank you.
I would just add through the chair that a lot of this will depend on the recommendations from the Citizen-Led Financial Commission, and what voters decide. Should there be something put on the ballot in the next couple of years to offset the $4 million deficit that the city will be experiencing. But I do also want to add,
Just to clarify, for the millage, that is
for the
proposed
Headley,
next year,
the Headley override is sunsetting, yes. So when I say a deficit, it's really the Headley override will be sunsetting December 31st, 2026.
Just explain what the Headley override is.
So,
Putting you on the spot.
yeah, just a little. So, Headley was passed back in the 1990s, I believe, or was Headley the one that was passed in the 70s? Anyways, Headley restricts any community from receiving more than 20 mills in their general fund, unless voters support other millages, other millages to support. What happens with Headley, though, is, and for me, this is the best way to explain it. As a community becomes a little richer, the state says, "Ooh, you know, we don't want you to become too rich, so we're going to lower your millage, your 20 mills, let's say, to 19. So now you're restricted to only collecting 19 mills on your taxes." And every couple of years, it lowers and lowers. So at one point, we were at 20, and when the, just after the 2008 collapse happened, all the property values dropped, which meant the amount of money that we would be collecting through Headley was going to be reduced, but the bills were still the same. So we requested that the public support a Headley override so that we could fill that gap where we were. And the first time around, we supported it with a 5.23 mils was the gap that we needed. And that was for a 5-year Headley override. In 2015, we asked the public to renew that Headley override for another 10 years. And that's what is now going to be expiring. Now, what has happened in those 10 years is we've had a lot of development in Ferndale, and Ferndale has become rich again. And so what has happened is that gap is now bigger. So if we lose this, if the Headley override goes away, we're actually going to be much worse than we were in 2008, or 2010, really. So, yeah, it's something that the residents have to determine, you know, what level of service they want to receive. And given the fact that police and fire make up over 70% of the general fund, what do you cut? You can't cut the water department. You can't cut the city clerk's office, for elections. Most of the other things are filled with, or are managed through other funds. Our water fund supports a lot of DPW. Waste management supports DPW. So a lot of times that's not a worry, but you have your parks. Are we going to just, divest? No. Is that right? Divest? Mm-hmm. Yeah, divest. In our parks, stop maintaining the equipment, the $500,000 splash pad that we put in, are we just going to shut it off? Yeah. So those are the things that people have to determine what's important.
Thank you.
Synopsis.
I had one more question. We saw a site plan for the relocation of the public facility, the storage yard, I believe. And I see that there's relocation as part of the budget. I was just curious about that project and where we're at in the process. And it might be an answer for question for Kyle.
Joe, he for sure knows, but
I might be able to answer a little bit of that. So the idea is to relocate the southwest yard that's right by the high school. That all the activities that happen there, as well as some of the activities that happen at the Camborne location, like the salt barn, and all of the plowing trucks and all of that, would be relocated behind 965 Wanda, where we would purchase property along the railroad tracks there behind 965 Wanda, and then move all of that activity to that location. It would most likely require a bond to complete that project, but it would also allow us to open up that southwest yard for development, you know, whether it be housing or recreational or a combination of something, but to kind of make that area a little more equitable.
And so we'd be acquiring land by the railroad tracks in the southeast side, but then potentially
Yes.
selling off land in the southwest by the
Yes.
high school. Thank you.
And as far as the project goes, I know that there has been some movement with the property owner. At one point, we were just waiting on the property owner to become more engaged. And I believe within the last month or 6 weeks, the property owner has become more engaged. So there's been more questions and or more communication. But that's as far as I know.
I know the property owner being the 965 Wanda.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and they're
sorry.
going through their own renovations, and so that's, I'm sure.
Yes.
It's been a tough year for development, so I'm sure it's been a longer process than expected
Yeah.
originally. All right. Well, this has been
I just want to say one thing, because I missed it when I was speaking earlier, but I did want to recognize Denicia for running a very, very well-organized meeting. She always kept us to task. She made sure that everything was covered, and I know you give Kyle a lot of credit, but, you know, you could have all the right tools, but, you know, still not run a very efficient meeting, and you really ran a really great meeting, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight and providing a really great summary of all the great work that you've been doing. So thank you very much.
We don't need to vote on this?
We do need a
okay.
vote to move forward.
Sorry.
I would like to thank Krista for taking the time to
Yes.
review that.
Chris,
as well.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. We're ready. I'd like to.
Through the chair, Denisa, are we seeking just a recommendation for approval? Or is this a approval and recommendation, or recommendation for approval to the city council?
That's what it says on our agenda, yes. Anyone like to make that motion?
I move that
Generally
we
don't like to, since I got to vote on it at council.
recommend the City of Ferndale Capital Improvement Plan for City Council adoption.
Support.
Motion by Azar and support by Moshali. Can we have a roll call vote, please? If there's no discussion on the map.
Brazen,
Yes.
Showalter,
Yes.
Azar,
Yes.
Michele,
Yes.
Councilman Polka,
Yes.
Chair Foster.
Yes. Motion's approved. All right, thank you very much. All right, next we have consideration of approval of our 2024 Planning Commission meeting calendar. Exciting stuff.
Through the chair, I just noticed that they have a July 3rd meeting, and I don't know how well attended that would be.
Good comment, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, through the chair, I picked out a couple dates that might stand out. Definitely July. July is kind of unique in that we actually have, I think, 5 Wednesdays. So what we could consider doing is, of course, keeping things as they are and just canceling as need be. Or we could potentially just shift both those dates to the 10th and the 24th. The other one that caught my eye was the September 4th, just because that's kind of close to Labor Day, but it is a few days after. But that's really all I have to say.
Can you bring the calendar back up, please, for September? Oh, actually, well, yeah. So my vote would be that we keep the 4th, mostly just because I know I won't make the 18th personally, just so it gives an option. And then we'll have the 2 different dates to, consider quorum and activity.
Sure.
And will the city offices be open on Juneteenth?
We will be.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did circle that one as well. So the city does recognize Juneteenth, but we are open on it.
Okay.
Through the chair, how many of us will really be here January 3rd? And how much business would we actually expect on January 3rd?
Not much. I would agree. I think that one might be, maybe we can keep it, and that one likely will be canceled, I would guess.
Too many things working through the hopper, or not really?
Well, the
Yeah,
zoning ordinance.
I do have a couple of site plans. I think I have 1 or 2 that are incoming, I suppose, and then there's another one that I've given them the review letter. Not really too much work to do, so I think it might be a little, decision making on their end, but that could come back at any time to this group.
I mean, I personally would prefer January 3rd to December 20th, but that's personal preference.
Yeah.
And we can always keep it, and then,
We don't have
if people
attendance.
can't, if we don't have quorum, or if we don't have just cancel it. So July 3rd, probably, do we want to potentially move that to the 10th and 24th?
I think that's a fine suggestion, because what we've done before in the past, I think we did this also last July, was we moved the first date, and then we kind of had 2 Wednesdays in a row, which I think one of them got canceled anyway, but I think we have some flexibility here. We could move them to the 10th and the 24th if we wanted to.
I think it helps provide flexibility for the schedule. Summers can be somewhat difficult with quorum, and it's a busy time. Correct. So I'd be open to that. Anyone have any issue?
I think in general, it'll be easier for people to make that. I know I won't be able to make it, but in general, I think it'll be easier for people to make it.
All right, so July 10 and 24 rather than July 3 and 17. So even if City Hall is open on Juneteenth, well, so like a lot of holidays, there is the date and then the observed date. Is there, I think Juneteenth is a similar holiday for the U.S. government, I believe.
I know that the UAW just agreed to it in their contract, but I don't know if it's the day of or if there's an observed date that was agreed upon. I just remember hearing that the UAW did request and receive Juneteenth as a formal holiday.
Yeah, I'm skimming Wikipedia, and in terms of what the federal government does, it's on June 19th, or should the date fall on a Saturday or Sunday, they will get the Friday or Monday closest off.
Recommendations?
Or,
Juneteenth?
You can play it by ear.
yeah, I think just play it by ear.
Any other dates?
Not dates through the chair, but I like to always ask this because people's schedules change and things happen. But would it be more convenient for people to meet at 6 PM as opposed to 6:30?
I think we have some issues with people getting here at 6:30 due to getting here from work. So I don't, I think there's a few people that would be an issue for,
Okay.
but it's a good question. Yeah. It's particularly Commissioner Hagfors, and I believe Akers as well has issues.
And I probably would have an issue getting here at 6 as well, just because I have to pick my son up from daycare.
Good question. Yeah, it almost seems like we should go the opposite way, but I don't recommend that.
I didn't want to go later. I would have liked to have had it earlier.
Yeah,
Because we stay here so late, I'm thinking if we could get an extra half hour early in.
yeah. Do we need to adopt this?
Yeah, please.
Have we, what was the dates that we were planning on moving, or were we just playing it by ear?
July.
I think the only amendment is to shift July 3rd and 17th to the 10th and the 24th.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt this plan as presented with shifting July 3rd and July 17th meetings to the next consecutive week,
The
the 10th and the 24th.
Second.
There's a motion by Showalter and a second by Moshali. Roll call vote, please.
Brazen,
Yeah, yes.
Councilman Polika,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Azar,
Yes.
Showalter,
Yes.
and Chair Foster.
Yes, thank you. Next, we have commission items. Does anyone have anything else?
I do. So just to let you know, we did have an election, and we have 2 new council members that will be joining council. And every 2 years, when we have an election in January, council members choose which boards and commissions they want to be liaisons to. And I will be requesting to stay on here, but I don't know if I'll be voted off the island. So it will all, it's all dependent on what all of the council members agree to. But I will be requesting to stay on. I very much like being on the planning commission, so.
We like
hopefully-
having you here.
Thanks.
Good one.
And do you want to announce the names of the council members?
Yes, so, Councilwoman Raylon Leaks May did, win the seat for mayor, so she will be our next mayor, for the next 2 years. And we have Rolanda Kelly and Donnie Johnson, who will be our new council members. Kat Bruner James has chosen to, not run again, so she will not be returning in January.
Thank you for the update. And then they'll be sworn in the new year?
Like officially, they have to be sworn in so many days from the election.